Wist u dat maar liefst 80% van de uitwisseling van bedrijfsgegevens niet veilig plaatsvindt? Bedrijven lopen veel risico's dat hun data op straat terecht kan komen. ECS International houdt zich bezig met het integreren, uitwisselen en beheren van data.
Nou, databeveiliging, zeker het versturen van data, is super belangrijk geworden omdat steeds meer.
De slide verkeerd. Good afternoon. I would like to welcome all participants to the webinar, The Future of Data Integration. Integrate, Automate, Succeed. My name is Rutger Worst, Account Manager for ECS International, and your host. In this webinar, you will learn how easy it is to integrate and exchange data throughout your supply chain, saving time and efforts. All of the attendees are muted during this session. You can ask questions in the Q&A box, and we will make sure that we will get all questions answered. This can be either live during the webinar or after by email. We will also launch a poll during these presentations, which we would like you to answer. We will present the outcome after. Ben Rinkel will kick off today. Hi Ben.
Good afternoon everybody.
Ben is Managing Director of ECS International and an expert on safe and secure managed file transfers. Ben will give you a quick introduction on the tools and the impact on your business. Also present is Barry Sponsor. Hi Barry.
Good afternoon everyone.
Barry is Solutions Architect for Clarify and will give you a live demo of the features and functions. Ben, the audience is yours.
Thank you, Rutger. Just to give you a quick update on where ECS stands for, we at ECS, we believe that every organization in the world must be able to integrate, exchange and monitor their business data efficient, fast and secure. And that's the main message for the audience. For those people who are not aware who ECS is, I give you a quick nutshell. We are already 17 years in the data integration, EDI and managed file business. We got over 1,000 customers in EDI and MFT, all across Europe, all across Africa and all across multiple verticals. So today's topic is the importance of innovative data integration. What I would like to start with is give you a quick view on where the industry is today. We've seen a couple of hundred years ago, 1784, industry started with the first automation using steam power. 100 years later, electricity came up and we had the first assembly lines. Another 100 years later, the first programmable computers came up, PLCs, computers. They started to do their entrance into the production environments. And now, just 40 years later on, we have been moving into Industry 4.0. Why is 4.0 an interesting and important industry? I will show you based on this picture. In Industry 4.0, also called the smart industry, we see it's a new revolution. We see that data from organizations, your customers, your suppliers, machines, all kinds of devices, big data, cybersecurity, cloud computing, all of these environments are a main part of your industry. And all those environments, they create data. In the middle, I've added the picture of the Internet of Things, which is the next step using your mobile technology, which also provides a lot of data. And on one hand, data is interesting, but it doesn't help to grow your business. Internet of Things, data, different platforms, different devices, they all create data. Data is only interesting when you can make it into information. Because information, that will help driving your business. That means that all the data you receive from all your devices needs to be transformed, needs to be changed into logic, changed into environments that make your applications and platform more smart. The only way you can really benefit all the benefits of that data is when you fully integrate all this data into your decision-making applications. And you want to do that fully automated. You don't want to do that using manual intervention, completely automate that process. And that's where we need to go to if we want to use all this technology and improve your business. What I would like to do is show you a quick 3-minute video that explains exactly where we are with the tooling where we're going to talk about today.
Your business relies heavily on data information exchanges between your systems, applications, suppliers, partners, and customers. But as you know, almost all of systems require the data to be in a different format, such as XML, EDI, spreadsheets, comma delimited, IDOC, and many, many others. But how do you convert or transform the data from one format to another to enable all of the different systems and applications to speak to each other and comply with the data formats mandated by trading partners? Most businesses have a scattered collection of custom-written source code to transform data. And in addition, many have legacy and outdated data mapping tools to get the job done, but with scarce knowledge on their use. Those custom code and legacy data mapping tools are proving to be an expensive, error-prone, and inflexible way to do business. As your business grows, more systems and data formats appear, data files generally get larger and more varied, and the strains on your custom and legacy toolsets to scale and perform are becoming an expensive bottleneck. As you struggle with data transformation, you risk missing processing deadlines and service level agreements, and you risk supporting business growth and trading partner onboarding. What if you had a software solution that could read data in any format and quickly and easily convert that data into any other format or even multiple formats? Clio offers a solution called Clio Clarify, which is powerful, easy-to-use software to transform data between formats for virtually any system, application, or service. With easy-to-use mapping software, you can quickly build rules to transform data from virtually any source format to any target format so systems can talk to each other. In addition, this solution has been proven to provide 50% greater data mapping productivity over older legacy systems by enabling faster and easier reuse of existing maps and overall data map building automation features. And you can more quickly process much larger files, enjoy the benefits of advanced data exception handling, more easily integrate directly with source and target databases, manage routing and data workflow, and quickly get the data integration aspects of your projects completed.
Well, thank you all everybody to watching this quick video, and I hope it was very interesting for you as well. Just to summarize on where we stand to our solutions, we've got a Clarify solution which does all your data transformation and mapping. Together with our proposition of our managed file transfer solutions, most of you out there know our products, our Clio Field Trader Harmony, including our high-speed protocol JetSonic, including our person-to-person communication with Trusted Unify. Brand new, just released our Big Data Introduction and Gateway. Together, the combination of Clarify with our MFT solution will provide to you a single platform solution to create all the power for all your data transformation and communication. So thanks for listening to me so far. Rutger, I'd like to move over to you.
Thank you for your presentation, Ben. Now we will launch the poll, which we would like you to answer in the next 10 seconds. Please mark the answer applicable to your situation, and we will present the outcome after the webinar. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your answers. Now let's go over to Barry.
Great. Again, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Barry Sponsler. I'm from Clio, and I'm here to discuss the Clarify solution, which is the data transformation solution. So this picture here provides an overview of how Clarify might be used in your organization. There's the top icons here represent external trading partners, so or anyone or any application that you might need to exchange data with outside of your network, whether it be a traditional trading partner, supply chain type relationship, perhaps a logistics, transportation provider, or cloud applications. So the Clio communications products, Harmony and VL Trader, support the transport of that data from external partners or applications into your system, into your network. When the data is received, it is handed over to the Clarify product, and then the Clarify product supports the transformation of the data between these 5 data formats: EDI, both X12 and EDIFACT, any database, flat files of all types, delimited, fixed, single format, multi-format, SAP iDocs, XML documents, and spreadsheets. So you can take any file of any of these types and transform it into any of the other types. The same platform, Clarify, can also be used to support internal or application integration at your enterprise. So perhaps you have an ERP system or a warehouse system, and you need to move data from that system to another database or application on your network. You can use Clarify to facilitate that integration. There's also 2 pieces of visibility, how you can look inside of the Clarify platform to get information on processes and the data associated with those integration processes. I'm going to concentrate today on the Clarify Studio, which is the configuration, testing, and deployment piece. But there's also a dashboard available for your business team so that they can also look into various aspects of the integration. Clarify also is fully scalable from the smallest enterprise to the largest. You can deploy in a single server environment, or you can have a multiple server environment with failover and multiple workers or multiple processing nodes in a cluster. So an investment in the Clio platform, you can start with a single server, and as your needs grow, as your throughput requirements grow, and perhaps the need for high available systems, you can scale up so that the Clarify platform can meet whatever requirements are required for your business. So at this point, I'd like to jump into the demo. Okay, so what you're looking at now is the Clarify user interface. This is the studio portion where you design, test, and deploy your integration processes, and also you manage your server environments. So I'll begin with a brief overview of the UI, and then we'll dig into 3 primary functions: the mapping functions, the business process modeler, and then the visibility functions. So what you're looking at here is the UI that allows you to build everything. And there's 3 perspectives. You have your workbench perspective, which is the local workspace that your individual technical team members would have when they're building, testing, deploying integration processes. The second view is the administrative console. This is the server manager piece that allows you to see all types of information about the processes that are going through the system. Clio Clarify is also fully integrated with the source control system known as Subversion, the IBM Apache project. It provides version control for all your integration processes, your objects, your artifacts, your sample data, and it supports team development through the check-in, check-out type methodology, so that you have you have your master library of all of your integration processes available either through a cloud-based repository that's offered by Clio, or you can install Subversion on your network and just connect to a local repository. So now we'll jump into the actual how you build maps inside of Clarify. So we refer to what's commonly known as a map. We refer to it as a rule set because it's the set of rules that governs the transformation of the data as it goes from the source format into the target format. So the example I have here is a purchase order, a EDI document being transformed into a multi-format flat file. And so you can see that these are called the schema panels at the top because they provide a view into the structure of the document. So those of you that are familiar with EDI in general, there's various sections of the document, sort of the header section, the detail section, and the summary section. And then we can explode and see all of the various segments and elements associated with each section of the document. By the way, all versions of X12 and EDIFACT are included in the Clarify platform. So you get updates yearly when the new standards come out. So you never have to worry about not having the proper document available to exchange with your trading partner community. So, so now we know what our source document looks like, the structure of the source document with all the segments and elements, and we also know what the structure of the target document looks like. There's sort of a header section here, and then there's a detail section. So now that we know what our actual document structures look like, now we can go down to the second part of the UI, which is the actual rules section. So the rules govern the transformation of the data as it moves from source to target, and there's 2 primary rule types. The first type is what we call a composite rule, and the composite rules serve 2 primary purposes. The first purpose is to control the reading and writing of the records as they are being transformed. You can see here that on this very first composite rule, when I have a BEG segment available in my source document, I'm going to go ahead and create a record in my target document, create a header record. So as you can see here, the rules are very structured. They're easy to read because we've tried very hard to make our rule set editor easy to learn, easy to use, and easy to maintain. So the second purpose of the composite rules is to allow you to group rules that are related to certain sections of the actual rule set. So when I go ahead and I have a BEG and I create my HDR record, I'm going to then perform a bunch of rules to get the data from the source over to the target. And then now, and I can just keep drilling down. So then, if you're familiar with this type of document, I can have multiple segment groups and N1 segment groups. And once again, I have the ability to structure the map so it's easy to read and easy to understand. So once I'm done with my sort of header section of the map, I now come down into my detail section of the map. So when I have a PO1, I'm going to create a detail record over here in my target, and then I'm going to perform a bunch of rules to get the data from the PO1 segment over to the detail segment. So now we sort of understand how the maps are sort of built and structured. I'm just going to demonstrate how easy it is to create some rules using the Clarifai platform. So I'm just going to create a new composite rule so that we can keep everything in one spot and easily see it. So the first way to create rules is through simple visual inspection. So and drag and drop. So if I see a source element here that says purchase order number, and then I come over here and see purchase order number, I say that sounds like a good match. So I can just drag and drop, and when this map executes, it will take the data content from this source element and place it into the appropriate spot in the target. But of course, we all know that transformation can be much more challenging than that. So I want to introduce the concept of actions, which is the third panel over here. So the definition of an action is you apply an action to data as it moves from source to target. So for instance, if I need to do some numeric calculations, I would apply a numeric action to my data. So I would take, for instance, two source elements, multiply them together, and place the result in the target. Let's say I needed to do some date and time manipulation. And let's say I needed to convert a century, year, month, day to a Julian date. Well, then I would use the convert date format action. And there's about 150 pre-built actions that come with the Clarifai platform that facilitate the reformatting or restructuring of the data so that you can properly prepare the data for the target document. Another very popular action set is strings. So there's all kinds of reformatting you might need to do when you're processing strings. For instance, concatenate or substring or trim, zero suppress. You can see they're all in here. And so I'll just show you an easy example of how we can create a concatenate rule using the Clarifai platform. So I'm just going to create a new rule. I filter out just everything, and I find my concatenate rule, and it brings me an empty rule. So at this point, I use my the properties panel, and so then I find the items that I want to concatenate together. So let's say I just take the purpose code, I drag it in here, and I take the type code. So I'm going to concatenate these two items, and I'm going to, let's say, place them in the record item, for instance. So that's the way that all of these actions work, is you select the action that you need to use, that you want to use, and then you drag the appropriate elements from the source and target documents into the proper areas on the map so that that executes properly. Okay, so one last thing here, we also have full variable support so that you can create all different types of variables that are needed, during the execution of a particular map. So I can create string variables or numbers, booleans, or objects. So let's say I need to do things like totaling variables or accumulators or holding variables. You can do all those types of things while the map is executing. One last point here, too, is this is if you're using EDI, is that when EDI is the source, we also expose the envelope variables that are associated with that EDI document. So you have access to things like the sender ID, and the group number, and things like that, the interchange. type information in case you would need to use that for, let's say, trading partner specific processing. For instance, if the sender ID equals 123, you can do sender ID specific processing if that would be applicable in your organization. Okay, so now we've seen how the mapping function works, and so now I want to show you how the actual processing works in the system. So we have a function in here known as the business process modeler. And what this does is this provides you a graphical representation of how the data is going to be processed by the system when it's received from one of the communications products. So it's a series of steps, and we will then diagram the steps and then join them together to provide the orchestration of those steps. So the first step I want to do is I'm going to receive some data from VLTrader. So I've set up a file adapter here. So this is the adapter layer. So I'll just say receive data. Have that right here. So that's going to be my first step in this process. The second step is going to be, once I receive the data, I'm going to transform some data. So I'll just look at that. I'll just look at that rule set. I'll just insert that rule set that we were just looking at. So that our second step will be transform data. And then the third step I'll hand this data, once it's transformed, I'll hand it to our ERP system. So I just created a small ERP adapter to go into an ERP, whether that's SAP, Oracle, whatever ERP you're running. So we've now just outlined a very easy business process. Receive some data from the communications product, transform that data from EDI format into flat file, and then go ahead and write that flat file out to the system so that your ERP can import that data into the system. So now we'll start joining provide the orchestration of how this process will actually execute. So we're going to receive the data, and then we test for pass-fail. Did we receive all the data properly? Was it properly de-encrypted and all those types of things? Was the authentication correct? Things like that. Assuming that all that is correct, we're then going to take that data payload and pass it off to the actual rule set. And then at that point, of course, then we go through all of our rules, we do everything, all of our checking and everything like that. And then assuming that the checking works properly, we're going to test for pass-fail again. And if it passes all of the transformation checks, we're going to go ahead and take that data and hand it off to your ERP system. And then assuming that your ERP system picks it up properly and imports it, we're going to go ahead and call this a success. We're going to send back a signal to our visibility system that this is a success. Now, we all know too that sometimes things happen during the course of transformation or during the course of an integration process, so we want to be able to notify the appropriate individuals if something would happen, an error would happen during the course of this process. So now I'll just drag in, sorry about that, I'll drag in another step, and we'll just, let's say we want to send an email. So we'll just say error email. So if an error occurs, we can just send an error email. And let's just say that during the course of the transformation, something happened. We could then, that failed, we can go ahead and send an email, send it to the appropriate staff. We also expose error messages that can be included in the actual message section of the email so that that person has some information about why it failed. And then the other thing too is we can also attach the file that was being processed at the time to the email, so that the person receiving the email gets information about why the error happened, and then they actually get the file that it happened on so they can start researching and resolving the error right away. And then, of course, if we come down here, we're going to call this a failure because we ended up going on this branch. And so now we've seen how we're going to transform the data, and we've also seen now how we're going to process the data, both successfully and if there is an error. So now we're going to move forward to the visibility section now. So the visibility section there's sort of two ways of looking at data in our system. One is from the technical perspective, and the other is from the user or business user perspective. So I'll go over the technical perspective first. So we switch to the admin console perspective of the UI, and we can see here that now we're looking at what's happening inside of my server. I happen to be looking at my local server here, but if I had other servers configured, let's say a QA server or a production server, I would have those on my drop-down here, and I would click on that and I would see the exact same information, but for that particular server environment. So there's several tabs that are of interest here. The first tab is the project tab. It shows you all of the available projects and all of the projects that are actually in the server. The system is an event-based system, so that what these represent is executable objects that are waiting to be initiated. So they're all sitting in a wait state, waiting for an event to be raised, and then it'll invoke these objects to perform the appropriate processing. The next tab, the business process tab, is if there were any active jobs in the system right now, you would see information about the active jobs in the system, the process ID, what step it would be on, what are the variables associated with that step, and so forth. There's also a full scheduling component included with Clarify. So perhaps you need to schedule some processes to run at specific times. Like you want to go get data from a particular van every hour. You want to produce your invoices every day at 4 p.m. Or various other types of things. You can schedule those processes to run, and then it'll wake up and actually execute those processes based upon the schedule. Another very interesting piece is our resource monitors. Clarify has the ability to monitor various services that are available on your network, such as email. We have the ability to strip attachments off of emails and then process them accordingly. So let's say you had a partner that couldn't do, let's say, EDI, but they could do Excel spreadsheets. Well, they could send you an Excel spreadsheet, and then we can automatically strip that spreadsheet off of the email and then send it through the Clarify in order to process it properly into your ERP system. We also have the ability to monitor databases, and based upon certain activity in the database, let's say an insert of a record into a particular database table, we could then automatically initiate an integration process. So, for instance, this is popular when you're trying to synchronize things like back-end systems with cloud applications. Let's say you have a JD Edwards ERP system and you're also using Salesforce. So let's say you add a new customer into JD Edwards. We could also automatically, when that new customer was added in JD Edwards, we could automatically then add a new customer into Salesforce as an example. We also have the ability to monitor file system resources. So on your network, you can set up certain folders, and when documents or files appear in those folders, we can automatically pick those files up and process them and transform them properly into your system. And then the other thing too is, should you want to provide web services, we also can monitor web services providers so that when someone requests some information from you, we can automatically respond to that request. But the most important piece here from a technical perspective is the auditor panel. And this shows you the processes and things associated that are going through the system. Okay, so you're basically looking at the logs in the system, and then you sort of drill down into the appropriate logs that you are interested in. You can see here I ran some data through and I got this done here. So we'll just drill down on a specific process. You can see this is a multi-layered process. I got down to the actual transformation, and I can it shows me a bunch of information about that actual transformation with a bunch of logs. This is also the type of data that's available to send in emails if there was an error. And it also provides you the ability to look at the source data that was involved in this particular transformation and the target data that it produced as a result of the transformation. And so this is very helpful, especially in the debugging phase or if you have a problem, because you can actually look at the messages that are associated with the process, and then you can look at representations of the data and try to figure out why something is not working correctly. So that's the technical view of the data and the processes. And so now we'll go to the user view. Okay, so when we come into the users, this is meant for your business team. So your business team would log on to here, and then it shows you a summary of the EDI transactions that are going through the system from your various partners. And it also shows you the document types that were processed by the system. So if I wanted to drill down here, oops, timed out on me here. So if I wanted to drill down through the system, I can then hit, let's say I want to look at my purchase orders that came in. I can drill down on here. It shows me the purchase orders that I've received. It shows me date and time type of thing. I can actually click on here and look at the raw EDI data that came through. I can also do things like get a more detailed analysis of all the information associated with that particular transaction. And then another view that's very popular is what we call our document history view, is that we can tie together documents related to a single piece of data content like purchase order. So if I want to see all of the EDI documents associated with purchase order number 12345, I can search for 12345, and then you can see here that I received an 850 on this date and time and it was accepted, and then I also sent an 810 on this date and time, and once again I have the same drill down options as before. So I can look at detailed transactions. These reports are also customizable, so that these are the ones that come with it, but you can extend this dashboard to provide more meaningful data to your user community. Okay, and I think that's about all I have for now. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to comment
this. Thank you, Barry, for your presentations. I would also like to thank all attendees for filling in our poll, and we will share the results with you now. Ben, when you see these results, what conclusions can you make?
Thank you, Rutger. Well, what I see is that pretty much what we expected as well. A lot of companies today already are doing quite some work on data integration. But actually nobody is really ready for Industry 4.0. Have all your data transformation and integration on one product in one view. As the results show, about 50% of the attendees are doing partly data integration, or EDI, or XML, or some application to application. So my conclusion is there is still a challenge out there for a lot of organizations to grow their business by using the real tools to get ready for Industry 4.0.
We also have received lots of questions during this webinar, and I would like to discuss some of them live. The first one is from Robert. Are there predefined mappings available in the Clarify for ERP systems? Barry, can you answer on that question?
Yes, we have predefined supply chain mappings for JD Edwards, SAP, and Oracle e-business Suite.
Thank you, Barry. I hope that answers the question from Robert. And I've also got a question from Frank. Is this a new solution or is it already around for a longer time? Ben, can you give an answer on this?
Yes, I definitely can answer that question. The Clarify product is already out there for many, many years and is a very proven solution. The reason why probably a lot of people have not seen the name Clarify, it's got to do with that Clio has purchased a company called Extol, and the Extol products are already out there for many, many years with loads of very happy customers. So it's not a new product, it's a new labeled product, but a very stable and existing product.
Thank you, Ben. I also have a question from Peter, and he says the tool looks nice. What can you say about the processing capabilities? Processing time when processing a batch or 1,000 or an X count of messages. Barry, can you give an answer on this question?
Sure. The Clarify product can be configured to accommodate anywhere from 100 messages per hour to literally thousands of messages. It's really a matter of how many, what size, how many processing queues are required. So we would work with you to determine your volume requirements and then size the appropriate system. I mean, in our customer base right now, we have customers doing in excess of 15,000, 20,000 documents per hour.
Thank you, Barry, for your answer. Well, I would like to thank all attendees for joining today's webinar. If your question is not answered, you can expect us to reach out soon. A recording of today's webinar will be made available to you. Thank you for your attention and have a great day.